What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new Last of Us 2 video, so let's get into it. So in today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about The Last of Us 2 and Joel in particular and his role in the game. And the question that we want to try to answer, or at least propose, is could Joel be a villain in The Last of Us 2? So let's talk about it. So there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of rumors going around about Joel and his role in The Last of Us 2. Obviously, guys, we play as Joel primarily throughout the story of The Last of Us Part 1. With segments, you play, of course, Ellie, but for the most part, you're playing as Joel throughout the entire course of the game. And I will say this, guys, that Joel is a very unique character and has a lot of mystery to him. So this notion that is Joel a villain, it definitely wouldn't surprise me if he was a villain. I just can't see it personally. But that being said, a lot of people are taking some of what Joel's voice actor, Troy Baker, some of his comments that he made about the character to heart, and I think that it's really stirring around a lot of speculation. Fans have come to love Joel, but that might change in The Last of Us 2. Joel's voice actor, Troy Baker, provided some rather interesting takes when he discussed the upcoming title at Manchester Comic-Con. You assume that Joel is the hero and David is the villain, but everyone is the hero of their own story, he explained during the event. I firmly believe that David believes he's doing what is best for his people, and he is the hero in his story. Troy went on to say Joel believes he is the hero, suggesting he may be doing bad deeds, but for the greater good, at least in his own opinion. If Joel is indeed a bad guy, then there could be many twists throughout the story. So what I'll say about these comments, guys, in my opinion, I don't really think that it's necessarily stating that Joel is a villain, but rather he's done bad deeds as far as, he's killed a lot of people. It's just kind of hard for me to see Joel as a bad guy. I know there's a lot of mystery there to the character, so I really wouldn't be surprised if he is the villain, but this is what I will say, is if he turns out to be a villain, which you would probably find out later into The Last of Us Part 2, I believe it would really create enough of a narrative that could really lead into a third Last of Us, which would obviously be The Last of Us Part 3, which they very well might be already planning ahead on a Last of Us Part 3, regardless of whether Joel's a villain or not. But I think that would be a huge narrative to build around The Last of Us Part 3. I've said this before in a previous video where I would like to, of course, take, the helm of playing as Ellie, and the torch has kind of been passed from Joel to Ellie as far as that's the main character that you're playing as. But like in The Last of Us Part 1, I would really like to see us play a little bit of Joel, or play his character, even if he is the villain. I think that would be very interesting to be playing the villain, even if you don't know it until the end of the game. I think that would be a really cool twist on the game and such, because in The Last of Us Part 1, you play Joel primarily, and then you play a little bit of Ellie. And I would just like to see those, that role reversal where you play mainly Ellie in The Last of Us Part 2, and then there's still segments where you play as Joel. I just can't see Joel, joining the Seraphites, or being, or joining one of these other, religious groups. I just can't really see anything like that. Now, a villain to himself, possibly. There's a lot of different ways in which they could go with the Joel character, but I just don't know if these comments from Troy Baker are really stating that Joel is a villain in the game, or his character is a villain in The Last of Us Part 2, or is kind of turning into a villain. It would certainly make for a very interesting story, and you would have to wonder, there's so much speculation going around about The Last of Us Part 2, and that's why I think we're all very excited about, is to see kind of where they take Joel and his character, and even Ellie's character. I mean, all the characters that we've really loved about The Last of Us Part 1, I know that we want to see a lot of those things kind of evolve in The Last of Us Part 2. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you guys think that Joel is a villain in The Last of Us Part 2? Or do you think it's going to be something where over the course of the game you'll see him turning into the villain, and then that'll lead us into The Last of Us Part 3? Let me know what you guys think, and as always, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Leave a thumbs up if you did, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.